Hello, my name is Christopher Fadnelli, and in this video we'll be going over how to implement a nonlinear flexible body using MotionSolve and OptiStruct code simulation. Let's get started. In our MotionView session, let's go to the Vehicle Tools and Assembly Wizard and load in a full vehicle with driver with the driveline configuration set to front wheel drive, and the rest of the pages are default. With the vehicle loaded in, let's navigate to the front suspension system and replace the lower control arm with the flexible body. And so we're going to change symmetry to asymmetric. And for the right side, we're going to give it a mass of 2 kilograms. And for moment inertia, we're going to set it to 2081. Going back to the left, we're going to enable flex and import the HUD file provided in the property files. I'm just going to quickly deactivate the vehicle body graphics so I can see the lower control arm better. Okay, now that I can see the lower control arm, what I'm going to do, I'm going to verify the nodes for the flexible body. So I scroll down to Entity Editor, select Nodes and Modes, and I'm going to select Find to find the correct interface nodes and close the pop-up window. Now we need to update the tire files. So let's go to Auto Tires, go to the front tire first, and in the Entity Editor, we're going to switch out the tire property file with the Fial tire with cam contact located in our property files. And then we'll do the same thing for the rear auto tires. Now I want to import the road graphic, which is already created as HUD. So I'm going to select the model, go to Geometry, select Graphics, and have it set to File, since it's an HUD file. I'm going to call the label Road, and I'm going to use the road graphic provided. Now to align it with the vehicle, I'm going to go to Location and change the transformation marker from Global Frame to the front road reference marker located in the auto tires. Now I need to add a driver event, so I'm going to go to the Entity Browser, navigate to Car and Truck, and select the road course drive event. For velocity, I'm going to switch it from 10,000 millimeters per second to 5,000 millimeters per second. Going down to the road settings, I'm going to switch the road selection to road file and bring in the road bump os.rdf. Navigate into the simulation settings and go into dynamic settings. Let's switch the max step size to 1e to the minus 4, and let's change the print interval to 1e to the minus 3. Now we need to determine outputs to define the location of the low control arm before it hits the bump. And so we'll be using these locations for the boundary conditions defined in the OptiStruct file. And since there is an extra interface node in the OptiStruct file, we need to create additional points. So let's go to the point tool and create a single point with the values of 841 in the x, negative 218 in the y, and 911 in the z direction. And so this is referencing the front lower control arm attachment point with 100 millimeter offset in the y direction. Now I need to create those outputs, so let me select the front suspension system, go to Analyze, and select Outputs. And so I'm going to have it set to displacement 2 points. And for the body setup, please observe the table shown. These represent the connectivity between the OptiStruct flexible body to the MBD model. Once each output is created, please change the on bodies from both bodies to the I marker. With all the outputs created, now we can run simulation. I always prefer running it offline with solver type set to XML. After some movie magic, we can see that the tire is about to hit the bump at 0.8 seconds. So we'll be using that time to retrieve our values. In Hypergraph, I'm going to load in the 4 market displacement outputs that we just previously created. And I'm going to plot dx, dy, and dz. Now the plot's loaded up, I'm going to go to each plot, select all the curves, and record the values for the X, Y, and Z position at 0.8 seconds. With the lower control arm FPM file loaded in, let's navigate all the way to the end of the file and input the SBC and SBCD values using the recorded values from Hypergraph. And let's resave this file to indicate that the displacement boundary conditions have been added. Now we define the location on where the lower control arm will be at the start of the co-simulation. Now we need to incorporate that OptiStruct flexible lower control arm into our MotionView model. So make sure that the front suspension is selected. Let's create a single body. In Interior, let's change the label to LCA OS. And let's enable Flex and change the functional source to OS Flexible Body. There are 2 options for input to OptiStruct. The first one is use specified FEM file and generate a new input deck. And the second is do not create input deck. The second one is when you have a solver deck that already has the predefined nonlinear static and nonlinear transient subcases. For this example, we'll be using the first option. So we have MotionSolve construct a new input deck. Now with the model loaded in, we need to create ball joints to connect the OptiStruct file to the MBD model. And so if we follow the table on the screen, we can create 4 ball joints. With joints created, now we need to make sure that they are registered in the nodes in the OS Flex body. So let's go to the nodes, and in the nodes and modes, we need to enter in manually the interface nodes that will be connecting the joints to the OptiStruct body. You will see the specified interface node invalid. Please delete those errors. The next step in this process is that we need to create MSI solver strings, so when we run the simulation, the OptiStruct file can connect with the MotionView model. So let's go to References, select Strings, and in Add Solver String, we need to create two. First one is MSI underscore start underscore time, and the second one will be MSI underscore time underscore offset. For our MSI time, we're going to enter 0.8 as a string value, so this ensures that the code simulation starts at 0.8 seconds. This is when the tire is about to hit the bump. For the time offset, we need to enter in negative 0.2 as a string value. So this will set the time offset between MotionSolve and OptiStruct. For this scenario, nonlinear static will end at 1 second, and nonlinear transient will start at 1 second. And with the code simulation, we have it starting at 0.8 seconds. So we need to offset it by 0.2 seconds to ensure that nonlinear static is enabled at the correct time. Now let's go to File, Export, Solver Deck. Let's export the solver deck in XML format. The main goal of this is to get the user program control text at the end of the XML file. We need this command, so once we run the code simulation, that MotionSolve will be running the road course drive event. I'm going to copy this line of command. And in the MotionView model, I'm going to create a template, have the type with write text to solver command file, and import the user program control. Following the user program control, I'm going to add a simulate command to run the transient simulation for 0.8 seconds. Following the simulate command, I'll be deactivating the joints and bushings that are connecting the linear flex body to the NBD model. And then I'll be simulating the rest of the code simulation. Now we can export the solver deck one more time. So let's go back to File, Export, Solver Deck, and let's export this in a new working directory. I'm going to call it fv_bump. I'm going to export this, and then next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to update the Altair driver file and take away the simulation time since we'll be running this via template. Next, we're going to update the cosim FEM file that is created. Now I need to add the nonlinear static subcase, so I'm going to be copying it from the tutorial and importing it into this FEM. Now in the bulk section, I'm going to add NL parm for the nonlinear static. Next, I'm going to add the initial condition load case, which is the TICs with a value 1, and the control sub set to yes to continue from the previous simulation. I'm also updating the label. This is optional. In the nonlinear transient LL parm, I need to increase the initial load increment for a smooth start of the simulation. Next, I'm going to change the number of intervals specified to output the immediate result from 5,000 to 200. And I'm going to change the number of time steps to 2,000 and increase the print interval so we are only running for 0.2 seconds. Let's save the FEM file and Set up the co-simulation using Compute Console. I will be using the most recent version of Compute Console twice, so we have one for the MotionSolve and OptiStruct files. I'm going to first input the XML that was previously exported. Second one, I'm going to use the bump cosim FEM file that we just updated. To increase the simulation time, please increase the number of CPU cores to be used for the OptiStruct run. Now we can run the simulation. First, we're going to run the MotionSolve file. Once we see MSI coupling mode, we can run the OptiStruct model. And now we wait. After some movie magic, both analyses are complete. Now let's load up the results in Hyperview. So first we're going to load up the HDD file generated by MotionSolve. And I'm going to hide the lower control arm, which is the flexible body. Now I'm going to load in the MSOS cosim HDD file, which is the OptiStruct results, and please make sure you select overlay. With that loaded in, I'm going to change the subcase from static to transient. And I'm also going to update the timescales so they align perfectly well with the offset. So I'm going to say edit scales offset and input the -0.2 offset in the OptiStruct results. And now I'm going to quickly change the range to 0.75 so we can just see the vehicle about to hit the bump. I'm going to enable Contour to view the stresses on the nonlinear flex body. That set up, I'm going to hit play, and now I can view results. That is all for this video. Thank you, and have a good day.